everyone, this is Melissa and I'm the Talkative Introvert. In today's episode, I am joined by my sister-in-law. She's rare just like me because she too is an introvert in a very much extroverted family. That's honestly what really caught my attention after being introduced to my husband's family and getting to know them. We're just really two very introverted Filipinos, which in my experience is pretty damn rare. So anyways, in this episode, we're going to talk about her experience with leaving California and moving across country to Virginia. And honestly, when she did that, I remember thinking how crazy she is for leaving everything she knows behind to do that, leaving behind her friends, her family, her job, to move across country. But at the same time, I thought it was also pretty brave of her to do, which I don't think I ever told her that, but now she's going to hear this. So now you know. Proud of you, Louie, for surviving that. I'm not good at complimenting people. To be honest, it's a work in progress. I'm working on that. I can be pretty blunt sometimes, and sometimes people think I'm mean, but I'm not trying to be mean. I think I'm just a little too honest with people. I don't know what the deal is. All right, so let's get into the episode, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Okay, are you ready? Do you have any questions before we start?
I don't think so.
Okay, how do you say your last name? Guillama? Guillama?
Yeah, Guillama.
Guillama. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, Guillama.
Yeah. You never take Spanish?
Yeah, I did. I took AP Spanish, but I don't remember that being.
Well, actually, there are a lot of Hispanic people who speak Spanish and can't pronounce it properly. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Because it looks like Guillama.
Yeah.
But it's Guillama.
We get that a lot, actually.
You know, that that UI messes me up.
Yeah.
Okay. Ready?
Yep.
Okay. Joining me today is damn it. I said Guillama. Hold on. Oh, that always messes me up. Okay. Joining me today is Leah Guillama. She is my sister-in-law and also former roommate. Hi, Leah.
Hello, what's up?
Thanks for joining. I'm so excited.
Me.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you on here. It's been unlike the rest of our family, Leah is an introvert like myself.
We're a rare breed in our family.
We're very rare. People don't get us in our family.
No.
I feel like we're kind of like I don't want to say we're the black sheep, but we're like the oddball, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so Leah, so I also call Leah Louie, so I might use both words or both names.
It's actually kind of weird hearing you call me Leah.
Yeah, because I don't ever call you Leah. I always say Louie. That's how it was with Casey's episode, because she's Katrina.
Yep.
But she goes by Casey. And same with me.
Yeah, Filipinos and their nicknames.
Yeah, seriously. It's very confusing. Like Mikey.
Yeah.
So Mikey's my brother, but his real name is Eugene. So it doesn't make any sense. But neither does a lot of Dotun too. But his real name is Jonathan. I mean, it's kind of similar, Dotun Jonathan.
I don't know.
I don't know. They Asianified it.
Yeah, no one even knows where it came from. I keep asking his mom, and she's like, I don't know.
That's a good point. A lot of nicknames I feel like people don't know. Because, for example, John, his nickname was Boya. But I mean, what is that? Where did that even come from? Why is it? It has nothing to do with John. And John is one syllable. It's so much easier to say than Boya.
The nickname is longer than
yeah. So, I don't know. Nicknames are weird. I think they just randomly give you a nickname. The adults give you.
Feels good though when you have a nickname.
Yeah, it does. It's very homey.
Yeah.
Because I go by Melissa in the podcast because that's just my real name. Mm-hmm. but it's weird when people say Melissa. Like, it's so formal.
I haven't called you that in a very long time.
Yeah. I think the only reason why you did was because of school. Because
Maybe, yeah.
we went to school together, but because no one at school, no, that's not true. People at school called me Mia, but only like my close friends did. Like no one else did.
Yeah.
Anyways, so
Family there.
back to Lily. So yeah, so you're my sister-in-law. So you're my husband's sister. But I do consider you also as like one of my closest friends, especially because like the whole introvert thing. Like I actually found another fellow Filipino that's like me. So that
Yeah.
was yeah.
Hard to come by.
Yeah. It's like we like got that like special bond. We're like, oh
Yeah.
my God, you get me kind of
I'm pretty sure
situation.
that's what we bonded over anyway in the first
I think
place.
so. Yeah. Cause like we're not really I don't like stuff that are like overstimulating, which is like every single party, you know?
We're
So
always like hiding in a corner together somewhere or something.
yeah. And then like we always we leave at the same time.
That was nice about being roommates.
Yeah.
We'd
Cause
go
then we
together
just go home.
and then go home. Yeah.
Yeah. It was nice because because we would like ride together, right? And
Sometimes,
then
yeah.
yeah, sometimes. And then like I think Casey or whatever would drive separately. Like we would drive separately with everybody.
Because we already know we're gonna get tired and want to go home.
Exactly. So that was always really nice. And I
Mhm.
totally felt for Casey being the only extrovert in our house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor thing.
I know. Oh, if you guys don't know, Casey also, aka Katrina, her episode's episode 11, and we talk about our roommate situation. And God, she was just like a Energizer bunny and always wanted to hang out. And poor
So much.
Casey. Poor
And I
Casey.
worked with her.
Oh yeah. So you guys saw each other like almost 24/7.
Yeah, which was awesome. I loved it. I actually really miss working with her sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly never got tired of of her energy and being around, because the one thing that I do like about extroverts is they kind of take all the attention off of me,
Mm-hmm.
and they do most of
Yes.
the work, the socializing. So like when it's me and Casey at work or something, if I get tired of talking to people or something like that, usually they just like look to Casey and she kind of takes over.
Yeah, I never really thought about that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like with Bailey, like I'll just sit there and she'll be talking to someone and I'll just
Yeah.
listen. Like sometimes it's nice to listen.
Oh yeah. I love that sometimes.
Just love
Most of the
listening.
time.
Yeah. Because it's really interesting. Like that's kind of another trait, right? Like introverts are very
Uh-huh.
observant, but I like
Yeah.
that. Like I like people watching and listening to
Yeah,
conversations.
for sure.
Yeah. Because even though I don't really gossip, no, that's a lie. I do.
But anyone who says that they don't gossip is a liar.
Yeah. But I like listening to it, like listening
Yeah.
to the gossip. Like we have a lot of that in our family.
I think
And
that's the Filipino in us. Like we have to listen to the gossip. We want to know everything, but we don't
mhm.
necessarily always want to actually be talking about it.
Yeah,
We want to
exactly.
know it all.
Yeah. Because I don't think there's not like a whole lot of gossip, I don't think of me and Brandon, just because we don't talk a lot. Um,
That's true.
yeah. And we're not also like around as much
Yeah.
because there's like a party every weekend, but we'll go like every other month or something.
It's funny, like because I go to the parties probably more than you and Brandon do, mostly
Oh,
because I
yeah.
lived with my mom at one point longer and before I moved here. But it's funny being at those parties, and like anytime you and Brandon come up, it's usually like short and simple. It's like, oh, it's just Brandon and Mia. That's how they are.
Yeah. Like
That's
there's
it.
not very much to go off of, you know?
Yeah, that's crazy. And then like you bring up another family member, and they'll talk for days.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm really glad it's like that though.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there really isn't much to talk about because we are homebodies. So it's not like we're,
Mhm.
doing anything crazy. And then when we like have our arguments, we don't share it to the world. like everybody else does.
Yeah.
So it's like no one knows about it if we do. Anyways, so we went off topic a little bit.
I know.
We haven't even gotten on topic, actually. So before we get to like the main subject, so you did take the introvert type quiz.
I did. And
Okay.
I got social introvert, but I think that's actually really wrong.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because when I read it, I was like, oh, that's not really me. And then I read the other, because there's 4 types, right?
Yeah.
And I read the other ones, and I feel like I'm a mixture of like anxious and restrained. I
Okay.
feel like those like really spoke to me, I guess you could say. But
I feel like you're
yeah,
not really restrained though.
I don't know. I can be. I think I'm really really good at hiding it.
Mm-hmm.
Like really good at that because I get people telling me all the time that they think I'm an extrovert, and I'm like, no, I'm 100% not.
Oh,
But
really?
oh
Maybe because
yeah,
you talk a lot.
I can talk a lot, but I have to be like
Mm-hmm.
very comfortable. But then at the same time, I think because of work, because I'm a receptionist, so it's
Um,
constant talking to people. It's constant like small talk, constant like
mm-hmm.
I'm seeing so many different people every day because we get 40 something appointments in one day at my salon. And so I'm seeing all these people coming in and out, and it's just constant. So I think that's what makes people think that I'm an extrovert because I can
Mm-hmm.
handle that really well. But it's only because I have to. I get paid to do
Yeah,
it, so I have to do it.
I
But
get that. It's like years of working in customer service kind of makes you that way.
yeah, because before I ever had a job, I was very much like that, just super shy, did not know how to talk to anyone at all. It
Mm-hmm.
was like painfully shy, but having a job kind of like forces you to learn how to
Mm-hmm.
deal with it. But then
Yeah.
the second I come home, I don't want to talk. Like Fabian, he gets on me all the time because he'll ask me to call a restaurant or something. I'm like, no, I don't want to do it.
Oh my
It's so
God.
weird. Yeah. But in my job as a receptionist, I'm constantly talking to people on the phone, but the second I'm not at work, I'm like, I don't want to do it.
That's how Brandon is. Like he doesn't like calling in the order for restaurants. He doesn't like to be the one that opens the door when we get like
Oh,
delivery.
never. I never open the door, Fabian.
Yeah. He's
I
so
always make him
weird.
do it. I
Oh my
get
God.
the worst anxiety when I think about opening the front door. And when he's
Mhm.
not home, I literally just let people knock forever and I pretend I'm not home.
Yeah, our DoorDash. I mean, thank God for this quarantine sometimes. I know, okay, I know it's not ideal,
No,
but
I understand.
but like so for DoorDash now, like you could put it in the comments, leave at door and then
Uh-huh.
don't knock. So ours is like don't knock and
Uh-huh.
text me when it's at the door.
That's exactly what mine is set to.
Which is like really nice because then
I
Brandon will
love
actually
it.
get it.
Yes. You'll get a big tip from me if I have zero interaction with you.
Yeah. It's funny because my desk is in the kitchen, so I can see when the person comes in. So I'll just watch them and just like watch them drop it off and then walk away into their car and then I'll go to the door
Oh, that's
and
me.
answer
100% me. We're such creepers.
it. Yeah, because I have it slightly open, but not open enough that you can see the inside, the
Hmm.
blinds. I tested it too, just to make
Yep.
sure. It's just like this person staring at you.
Oh, that's awkward.
Okay, so you said you're restrained and then anxious. So why anxious?
Uh, hold on. I have to like reread what it means. I remember looking at it, but I don't remember exactly
Okay.
what they mean. Oh, just because I am very self-conscious. Like I'm awkward with social interaction because I'm self-conscious about the way I speak, and especially with people that I don't really know very well.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what makes my job so hard sometimes because I don't like it's hard for me to talk to people I don't know, and I automatically feel like I'm going to say something wrong or stumble over my words and whatnot, which I feel like I do all the time. So I think that's where I get the anxious part out of it.
That's interesting because I don't like, I think you speak pretty well and pretty like eloquently, unlike me, which is weird because I have a podcast, but like
I know.
oh man, my first few episodes, I edited it a lot because I was like, God, why do I sound like that? It sounds so stupid.
Oh man, I can't. You're so brave, honestly, for starting this, because I would be the same way. I have a hard time just listening to myself.
That was the hardest thing, I think.
Yeah, and you have to do it because it's your podcast. You have to edit it.
Yeah, exactly.
Me,
And
I don't have to listen to this episode if I don't want to. I probably
that's
will.
true.
It'll be painful.
Yeah, that was the hardest part because, man, if you can hear the voice in my head, it's so beautiful. So, like,
right? Mine is definitely deeper in my head.
yeah, mine is way deeper. So, like, do you think I have a high pitched voice?
I really don't think it's that high pitched.
Yeah, I mean, not like you.
No.
No offense.
Way
But
to play
like,
on my self-consciousness.
sorry.
No, it's all right. I already know.
Well, like in my head, like I have this very nice, like, I don't know, like deep, like Lana Del Rey type voice, you know, like that deep, like, I
Yeah.
don't, yeah. But then when I heard myself, it's like high pitch, a higher pitch and raspy, which is like the complete opposite. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, it's funny how that works. But I'm the same way. I hear my voice on recordings. I'm like, man, how are people not annoyed by me 24/7?
It's not that high though.
Good.
And I'm sure like recordings probably, I don't know. I don't know how true it is to like the actual voice, you know? But I mean, I got a new mic and I think it's supposed to be like pretty accurate.
It does sound really good.
Thanks. Yeah. You know, I treated myself. I was like, well, if I'm going to do this podcast,
It's worth it.
yeah, thanks. Because my gaming headset, that sounded atrocious. Like it was just.
It didn't until I heard the new mic.
Yeah. Because I thought it was fine. I was like, oh, this is fine. It sounds fine. Yeah. And then I did a comparison because I always listen to the last one before I do the new one. And I was like, holy crap. Like, how did I listen to this? Or anyone listen to this? But yeah. Okay. So you think you're restrained, anxious, but you got social. So why don't you think it's social?
I have to look at the social one again.
So that's the one where you like mostly say no to parties. You don't really like, I mean, it's like, it's called social, but it should really be like anti-social.
Yeah. See, that's the thing, because I think maybe in the past I was more social introvert, but I think being away from home has made that a little different, because I noticed that every time I go back to California, I crave like those big family parties. But at the same time, it's like, I know it's a family party, so I'm more comfortable being around everyone in those parties. But I just like, sometimes I really want to be in a place where it's really busy, really crowded. And I just kind of like that atmosphere, but I don't necessarily want people talking to me or paying attention to me. It's more of just, I like having a little bit of that chaos around me. But not quite directed to me. Does that make sense? Kind of weird.
So you like the like social environment, but you don't want to do the actual socializing part.
Exactly. That sounds terrible.
No, that makes sense though.
That's exactly what it is. Like, especially because I don't know if I've mentioned this already, but you know, Fabian's in the military, my husband. So when he's gone and it's just me in this house all the time, which most of the time I do love being by myself, especially when it's in my house. I love being by myself. I don't really invite people over very often. Plus it's kind of hard with the dogs anyway, but there'll be days, it'll be a big stretch of time. It'll be like a couple of weeks where every day I just want to be around people. I want to like go to a restaurant and eat in a restaurant or something, but at the same
Mm-hmm.
time I still want to be by myself.
Yeah.
I just want that atmosphere.
I think it mainly because like we're Filipino and we're just used to that. And
Yeah.
that's how we grew up. And so, okay, so to preface what's happening, um, this episode we're going to talk about Leah moving from California to Virginia. And
Mhm.
so right now, Virginia, like there's none of our families there. All of our family is in California. And so what am I getting at? Oh, um, so I think what is the problem, I guess, for you in
Mhm.
that in being in Virginia away from everybody, it's just like we grew up with just like so many people around us constantly and so much noise constantly, and like every
Yeah.
weekend is a party. And now you went from like 100 to 0 when you moved across the country.
That's true. I've never really thought about it that way. But that makes so much more sense because I've always wondered why I feel like this now, but I've
Mm-hmm.
never felt that way. Like I remember living in California, like those family parties, like half the time I didn't want to go. But
Yeah.
now that I'm here and I don't have it, because back in California, we have them like every weekend.
Yeah.
So you never run out of those parties.
Yeah.
There's always one that's one's going to come up. So you don't really like, it's not that you don't look forward to them. It's just, I guess
It's
it's
just
not as
like another weekend,
yeah,
basically.
yeah. It's just kind of the same thing over and over again. But being over here with no family, all my closest friends are still over in California. Like it's different. It is a lot quieter here. It's not that I'd say it's like lonely because I don't feel like I really get lonely very often
Mm-hmm.
because I'm an introvert. It's hard for me to be lonely, but I'm very much alone over here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like even for me, like even though I don't go to all the parties and like now that we're quarantined, then I work from home.
Mhm.
I love it, by the way. Like I love working from home and I love being quarantined,
Oh, I
but I
bet.
do miss the noise. So I always have something on. I always have a podcast playing
Yeah,
or the radio or just even the TV. Like I'll have the TV on, but I won't be watching. I just need that
yeah.
constant noise, I guess, because I'm just so used to that.
Mhm. Yeah,
Because
that's how
like,
I am too.
yeah, because like when we were younger, we also like lived with our family members at some point. There's like been times where like I went and lived with my sister or like both my sister's families. And there's one point where my brother's family came and moved with us. And like, so we were just like always like with somebody and there's always no noise. And
Yeah, remember that one house where we lived with 14 people?
yeah,
That like
exactly. Oh
care
my
home house?
God. Yeah. So we had like something like that too. But
Yeah.
man, that's
Yeah.
just like having a party every day.
Oh my God, I know. And it's nice because we're all around the same age.
Mm-hmm.
We grew up with like our own generation and there's so many of us, which is really nice. It's really cool, but it's a lot as an introvert.
It is a lot. And then if you live in that situation, like it's hard to escape. I mean, I was pretty lucky because I was the only girl. So like when we had that situation where like our families lived in the same house for a while, I was the only
Mhm.
girl, so they gave me my own room.
Oh, that's nice.
And then the boys all stayed in the loft. And like, man, that loft was just it smelled bad.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
And it was just always a mess and ugh, it was terrible.
Yeah, I remember that we had, I think in that house, in our house, it was 3 boys in one room. I can't remember if Brandon had his own room.
I think Brandon had his own room because he was like the older one.
Yeah, but then there was like Patrick and Dalton in one room. But then
Hmm.
they always all spent time together in like one room. So
Hmm.
so it's just yeah, the boys' rooms get gnarly.
Yeah. Did you, Casey, and Kaylee share a room, or was it just you and Casey in one room?
It was just me and Casey. I think Kaylee had her own room. I'm pretty sure. Because
Hmm.
yeah, it was just me and Casey. Those rooms were tiny too.
Hmm. Because it used to
It
be
was,
like a retirement home or a
yeah,
assisted
care
living
home.
care home. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it's called.
Yeah, but me and Casey we've lived together so many times growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like, if you include our situation, our roommate situation, I think it's like 3 or 4 times we lived together.
Yeah. So that's probably why you're just used to her, like her
Yeah,
energy.
very true.
Cause
Yeah, I'll never
like,
really get tired of it.
yeah. Cause our, I guess our equivalent is John. So John is way over the top Energizer Bunny though.
He is.
He's just go, go, go all the time. Like you think that, I don't know, he's like on meth all the time or something.
Yeah, he from what I remember, yeah, he's always been like just going.
Yeah, nothing stops that kid. I don't.
I'm so
Okay.
jealous sometimes people
I
with that.
know. Cause I get so tired, man. I get like physically tired when I hang out with people.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Ooh, like the best naps are after a party.
Yes. Oh my God.
Like, I wish parties were like in the morning and then you could take like an afternoon nap afterwards and then have the rest of the day to yourself.
That's ideal.
I would totally be down with
Yeah.
that.
It's like last week I had some of the best sleep of my life because so my salon has 2 locations and I primarily work at the Ghent location. I've been there for like 3.5, almost 4 years. And then I worked at the Hilltop location for the first time in like 3 years. I did 2 days at the Hilltop location last week, only 2 days. And it was like 5 or 6 hours each day. But I was so exhausted after those days just because it was like a new like area. I hadn't been there in so long. So it just felt like a new job. It was a new atmosphere. Some of the stylists I don't know as well over there, so my coworkers don't feel as close as like the Ghent location. And even like at the Ghent location, I know a lot of the clients from being there for so long. So Hilltop, everything just felt completely different.
Hmm.
Even though it's the same job, it's the same owner, same salon, same services. It's just being around different people that I'm not used to every day, and then being in a different atmosphere just made me so tired. It
Oh,
was
I'm sure. Like it's kind of nice. My current job. So I got a new job in January, but it's
mm,
still the same. So um, how do I explain this? So I used to work on
your
the vendor
contract, right?
side. Huh?
Is it a different like contract type thing?
No. So okay. So I used to be on the vendor side. So
Mhm,
there's two sides in IT, right? There's the vendor side and there's the client side.
mhm,
So I'm on the same project, same exact project, and
mhm.
I just moved over from the vendor side to the client side.
Oh.
So it's like it's a new job, but it's the exact same environment, same people, all of it's the same. The only difference is that instead of me doing the work,
Mhm,
like creating the product, if you will, I am
mhm,
now like reviewing and approving the product.
mhm.
So, but it's just like a really good transition because I already knew everybody. Like
Yeah,
nothing was new. It was just like on the other side. It was funny because like when I came back to work, they announced my like leaving at my previous company.
yeah.
And then when I moved over and I started my first job, like first day there, my former coworker was like, "Why are you here? Like, how did you get in?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm on the client side now." And they're like, "Oh, okay." They were so confused.
That's so weird.
Yeah, because not everyone knew like where I was going. They just like knew I was leaving the company.
They're like, bye.
Yeah, and it was like 3 days later because I think I took like a Monday off.
Wow.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah, that's
Okay. Anyways, so back on topic. Okay. So Louis went from California to Virginia, but we didn't like explain why. So like why did you move from here to there?
so I met my husband in California and he joined the Navy. and then he ended up being stationed in Virginia. So he was out here for, I believe, 2 years before I decided to move out here. We weren't married at the time, but he just, it's so weird because I feel like this is the only decision in my life that I didn't overthink. But
That's true. Well, our lease was
yeah,
also up.
shoot. Yeah, it was going to be. I still had a good, like, because he asked me in February if I wanted to move. We weren't even engaged yet. He
Mm-hmm.
asked me in February, and at first I thought he was joking. And then when I realized he wasn't joking, I like didn't even think about it. I was like, sure, okay, yeah, I'll move there. And then our lease was up in that September, so I had
Yeah.
a good few months. But um, yeah, I moved out here mainly for that reason. But I was also still going to school, and I knew I could get more out of school on the East Coast because with the forensics, it was hard to find something in California. Surprisingly, don't know why, but
Yeah, that's
the East
weird.
Coast has a lot more opportunities when it comes to forensics. So that was also a plus. Um, but yeah, those were the two main reasons why I decided to move all the way across the country away from every single person that I'm close with. There's
How
only
long
one
have you
person.
how long have you been there?
It's been 3.5. It'll be 4 years in December, I think.
4 years already? That was
Yeah,
fast.
it was, I think so, because it was December of 2016 that I moved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so 4 years almost.
Wow.
I know.
I
Crazy.
can't even fathom. I don't know. Time is going by just so fast.
And at
Like,
first, I thought it was only going to be for 3 years.
mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, I can do 3 years. That's fine. But
Jeez.
now we're adding on another 6 years. So
God, that's such a long time from now.
yeah. So we're just dealing with it. And it's, it's different, definitely. I never thought I'd do anything like this because I'm so attached to home, family. I'm so attached to what I know.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's part of being an introvert too, is that I can be uncomfortable in places that I don't know and around. Obviously, I'm uncomfortable around people I don't know. I'm not one to go out and like just make friends.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and also you said you resonate as being like an anxious introvert. So that's
Yeah.
even like more so like how can you like move across country?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then when you add the military in there too, there's a lot of people that you're meeting constantly, and everyone's so in and out too
Mm-hmm.
that you'll feel like you're getting close to someone and becoming really good friends, but then all of a sudden they go on deployment for 6 months or they get stationed somewhere else so you don't ever see them again and they go to a different state or something like that. So that makes it kind of difficult too.
Mm-hmm.
Which is probably one of the reasons why I only really made like one really close friend here in the last 4 years. And she ended up moving this past February back to her home state. So that's a bummer.
Yeah. I know. I remember when you like told us she was moving, and I was like, oh no.
I know. It's very weird because we are very attached to each other. Like she was my neighbor, Erica. You know Erica.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's my neighbor. So she's right there. So anything either of us needed, we're right there next to each other. And both of our husbands ended up being gone at the same time, just somehow it just worked out that way. So anytime we were alone, we had each other. So that made it really easy having that
Mm-hmm.
one buddy. But so it's been weird now because it kind of feels like how it did when I first got here, where I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really have very many friends. Like, I mean, I make friends with people, but you know what it's like. It's weird. Like, I have a lot of acquaintances,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm one of those people that I like having just a really small group of people that I'm close with and want to hang out with constantly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like that meme where like introverts or extroverts when they're around comfortable or people they're comfortable with,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Oh my God, exactly. You put me and Erica together, we're nonstop like talking. Like and we'll spend like she'll call me sometimes on the phone. We'll be on the phone for like 2 hours straight. I think we've
Dang.
even been on the phone longer than that before. And
You guys
it's
live next to each other.
yeah, it's so easy to just for us to talk to each other and just I don't know, we spend so much time together. And then
Yeah.
but I can't do that with everyone. 'Cause, you know, Casey, like she's really good at just making friends with anyone anywhere she goes.
Hmm.
She can talk to anyone. It's no problem.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like even Bailey, like there are times when
Mhm.
we're at Target and I'm just waiting on her because she's talking to someone. I'm just like, why do you need to talk to someone? Just let's get our stuff and leave.
That's like my parents. That was the worst as a kid.
Oh my God. Yeah. Your dad.
My dad was definitely the worst. My mom can be that way sometimes, but my dad was so bad.
They're just so good at talking to people.
Yeah. The
Like
funny
it's
thing is,
insane.
my dad told me that when he was a kid, he was painfully shy too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember him telling me that years ago. And he said he had no idea how to talk to people. He couldn't hold a conversation, like was so nervous to go up to any stranger and talk to them. And
Hmm.
now look at him. Complete opposite.
That's how Brandon is, though. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
echoing.
You're echoing?
Yeah. Oh, now
Mhm.
it's gone.
Okay.
That was weird. No, but that's how Brandon is too. Like well, like in high school, he was really shy and really quiet and
Mhm.
very reserved. And like even like our friendship, I talked to him first. And
Really?
like, yeah, like I came up to him first. Well, it's because like Mikey was like, "Hey, can you go talk to my friend real quick?" Because he like Brandon was coming over to sleep over, I guess. And
Yeah.
then, but Mikey wanted to go talk to another friend real quick, but he didn't want to leave Brandon alone. And so I talked to him. But like now it's like everyone loves talking to Brandon, and Brandon can talk to anybody and he can talk to them forever. And there are times where like Joseph will snap me and it's just Brandon talking to like their
Yeah.
customers, and Joseph's just waiting for him, just waiting for him
Yeah.
to finish their
I find
conversation.
yeah, I find that happening to me at work a lot.
Oh,
I
really?
feel like I feel like I'm kind of similar to Brandon in the way that people kind of gravitate towards me sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's just most of the time I'm like, why? But other times I can be in the mood and I can talk to them forever, even though I
Hmm.
don't really know them. It's kind of rare, but it does happen.
I think that like, I don't know, maybe it's just like how you guys look. Maybe you just look super friendly. Because Brandon will so we don't do our yard anymore. We Brandon hired a yard guy.
Mhm.
But before, Brandon would like time it perfectly so that when he does the front yard, it's when like everyone's like at work or like there's no one out there to
Yeah.
come up to him and talk to him. And then like when he works in the garage, he'll avoid opening the garage so that none of the neighbors will come by
That's
and
the
like
kind of
talk to
stuff
him.
that I do too. I'm always like doing my best to just avoid people because I feel like they will come up to me and will
Yeah.
start talking to me.
Like Brandon knows our neighbors and he even has like some of their phone numbers. And I'm like, I don't think anyone even knows my name, you know? Like, I think our one neighbor knows my name just because our mail accidentally got sent to them. And like, that's it.
That's funny. Yeah, sometimes that's like I'm like that with Fabian because he's an introvert or the extrovert, so
Mhm.
he's usually the one that's like talking to people and stuff. And that's how we got to know Erica and Joe because Fabian literally popped his head over the fence in our backyard and was like, "Hey, you guys want to come over for a fire later?"
Oh my God, I would never do that.
I know. I was like, he told me that because he told me he's like, "Oh, the neighbors are going to come later." I was like, "The neighbors?" I was like, "When did you talk to them?" He's like, "Oh, I just peeked over the fence." I was like, "What? You did what?"
Oh my
No,
goodness.
I could never. But I'm that type of person where if I see like our neighbors or something are in the driveway or whatever, and I just pulled up from work, I'll sit in my car until they leave.
Yeah, like we had this one lady. She like owns one of the houses, and they were like fixing it up because it got burnt down one year.
Oh
Don't know
no.
how that happened. We just they just like or renovated it and fixed everything. But anyway, she was there every morning to check on the house, and she like just loves Link. Like she just absolutely loves like corgis and just herding dogs in general.
Yeah.
And so like it got to the point because I walk Link in the morning, it got to the point where I would like go look outside the window and I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, Link, are we gonna walk today? Should we wait? And like sometimes I'll just walk him later or like I'll get
Oh
up
my
super
God.
early.
I've done that because I feel like so when you get to know a person,
Before we move on, I want to talk to you guys about Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout makes it easy for any aspiring podcaster like myself get started and get listed on all the popular podcast platforms with their easy to follow instructions and numerous resources. If you're thinking about starting a podcast, I highly suggest getting hosted on Buzzsprout. New podcasters get a $20 Amazon gift card when you sign up for a paid plan. Follow the link in the description to let them know I sent you and to support the show. If you do start a podcast, please let me know. I'd love to hear all about it.
I feel like in the beginning, it's like kind of easy to have because I kind of like small talk sometimes
Mm-hmm.
because it's like quick. It it's not important. It doesn't really matter what you say most of the time,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like a really short conversation usually. And then like eventually you have this like little bit of small talk over and over and over until you start to kind of get to know them better. But I feel like there's this weird in between like not knowing them very well and then knowing them really well and actually becoming friends. And I feel like in that little gray area, it can get weird sometimes to the point where sometimes you just want to avoid them because you don't want to get to know them too well. I don't know if that's just
Yeah.
me,
No, I
but
get that. Like you don't want to know them too well because you don't want them to end up being your friend, and then that's another
yes,
friend you have to like deal with.
yes,
And
it sounds so bad. It sounds terrible. But that's the kind of stuff that happens like at the salon where
oh,
I'll see the same client over and over again, and I'll start to get like the conversations will become a little bit more personal here and there as they go, and then
mm-hmm,
it just gets to a point because they're our clients, so it's highly unlikely that we're going to become friends,
mm-hmm,
especially when it's a different like age group or you don't really have that much in common. It's just they're at the salon constantly, so you kind of have to talk to them all the time.
mm-hmm.
But there's this like weird part where I start to get really like anxious about seeing them.
Yeah,
And so sometimes like if I have another receptionist there, I'll try to get them to kind of deal with them rather than me. It sounds really bad. It's so weird, but sometimes I just get so anxious when certain people come in because it's like I know you well enough, but not too much. It's just
yeah.
it's hard to explain.
No, I totally get that. Like that in between, and you
Mhm.
don't want it to cross the line of friendship because
Yeah, but you
then
feel like it has to.
because you've gone so far and
Yeah.
you've dedicated too much time to it. Oh, yeah, that reminds me of this time in college. What is it? So I used to take the light rail to school because it was free for
Uh-huh.
college students.
Mhm.
And there's this guy who just so happened to sit where I'm sitting, and we
Mhm.
like had a conversation the like entire train ride over. And that
Mhm.
was like a good, I think the train ride is like a good, I don't know, half an hour to
Mhm.
school. And um and then we just so happened to also be walking towards like the same building for class, so
Uh-huh.
from the start of the train ride all and then walking into school, which was another like 15-minute walk, and then going to our class, we were just talking the whole time, and I did enjoy the conversation and all. But
Mhm.
then he asked for my number, and I said, oh, I so embarrassing, but I was like, oh, I'm already taken. And he's like, no, I just want to be your friend. Like,
Oh, I've had that happen to me in college too.
yeah. And then I was like, I don't really give my phone number out. And then he's like, how do you make friends then? And I and then I was like, well, how about let's God, it sounds so stupid, but I was in my 20s, okay, like
Uh,
early 20s. But I was like, let's have fate decide. And if I see you again, then I'll give you my phone number and we can, hang out. And
yeah.
ever since, I was like freshman or sophomore year of college, right?
Uh-huh.
And mind you, I went to college for 5 years.
Yeah.
And so all the rest of my like 3 or 4 years in school, I avoided him the entire time.
Oh my God.
So I would see him on campus and I would like walk a different direction and like
Oh, that's terrible.
oh
That's so
man.
terrible. Yeah, that kind of happened to me too in college. I remember I was sitting in some office for some reason. I think I had to deal with a financial aid issue or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy sat next to me, super friendly dude, just one of those people that just comes up and just talks to you.
Yeah.
And he was doing that, and I was just trying to be polite. Like, I really didn't want to talk, but I'm too nice, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to just, especially back then, it's hard for me to tell people, like, I don't want to talk to you, like, get away
Yeah.
in a nice way. But so he starts talking to me a bunch, and then he like even adds me on like Instagram and stuff, and he literally just wanted me to be his friend or whatever. I don't
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird to me. It's such a weird concept to me. But he just wanted to be my friend, and he did the same thing, and I feel like I actually did give him my number. I can't remember. But then like I would do that at work at Target too. Customers would ask me for my number sometimes. And I can't say no, so I give it to them,
Oh
but then
my
I
God,
never
Louie.
respond. But then I just don't respond. I don't ever answer it. I don't respond to the text. Like, I just get so awkward. But now I'm better about it. I'm better about saying no.
Yeah. Now it's
That was like,
easier.
yeah, that was like early 20s. I was probably
Mm-hmm.
19, 20.
Yeah. And like now it's definitely easier. Well, at least for me, you're still in school, but like,
Mm-hmm.
because I only deal with like work colleagues now, and like most of the
Mm-hmm.
time they don't want to be friends, because they like go to
Yeah.
work for work. And then
Yeah.
if you become friends, that's just kind of, additional. That's just
Yeah.
something extra that happens. But man, jeez.
I just, yeah, I don't like to try. This sounds bad again. I don't like to try to make friends. Like, I'm never going to be the first person to come up to you.
Oh yeah,
I feel
definitely.
like it just needs to happen on its own. And
Hmm.
that's what I felt like happened with Erica. And I think that's one of the things that makes it so difficult, me moving all the way out here with no one except for Fabian.
Hmm.
It's hard for, like, I don't make friends very easily. Like, I don't go out looking for it. And I
Hmm.
don't really like to try
I
very
wouldn't know
hard.
how either.
Exactly. I don't really either. I feel like every time I try, it just either, I feel like I'm coming off as weird or like
Hmm.
almost stalkerish if I keep trying to ask someone to hang out.
That's your anxious introvert talking.
Yeah, see? I'm telling you. I'm just, because I think about things too much. I overthink everything. I'm like, am I being weird? But, and that's how most of my friendships, I don't really remember how we became friends. It just kind of happened.
Yeah, same. Like, well, I think my friends like came up to me first. I know for sure
Yeah.
Bailey came up to me first.
Yeah, that's how all of my friends have been too.
Yeah.
Everyone comes up to me.
Yeah. So, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember how it happened. But I'm also friends mostly with like people I've been friends with since high school. Like
Hmm.
all my friends I still keep in touch with are friends I had since high school. So we like had a class together or something, or we like got grouped into some assignment
Yeah.
together. So it was like super easy. And we just so happened to have like similar personalities and it worked out. But like as an
Yeah.
adult, like I have no clue. I mean, I did that. Did you listen to my last episode?
I think I'm behind one episode.
Okay, so I did like the Friend Finder app.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that episode mainly because like I was just so fascinated by the dating. So I did
Oh,
the dating episode with Mia.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and they had like the Bumble
Uh-huh.
app, and then like Mia was showing, or not Mia, Bailey showed me the app, and I was like, "Ooh, this would be great for like introverts for like finding friends," you
Yeah.
know? And I'm like, so I tried it out, and I did meet like a couple of girls, and there's one that actually, or two that I actually like still talk to now, and they're like,
Mhm.
I think we'll probably someday meet each other in person. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm pretty bad at like texting people and keeping in contact with people.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
another reason why like you were saying like the whole gray area where you don't want them to cross the line of friendship, because
Uh-huh.
like not not to sound like narcissistic or anything, but I do have a lot of friends and a lot of people I have like I keep in
Uh-huh.
contact with, and it's
Uh-huh.
like, man, I have to add to that group, like to that
Yeah.
list.
I was about to say that I feel like I have a quota, like
Yeah.
a max number of friends that I can have.
Yeah,
And I feel
exactly.
like I've already reached that. So that's like that's one of another reason why it's so hard being out here too, is that I feel like Erica was like the last she's the only friend I've made as an adult outside of high school.
Hmm.
And I feel like after her, that's like enough people. Like I can't handle
Yeah.
anymore. Like, because when I'm friends with someone, I want to be like best friends with that person.
Yeah, exactly.
So I feel like all of my friends that I have, I'm like really, really good friends with them. And
Hmm.
it's hard for me to add any more to that because it is hard work keeping up with relationships and being all the way out in Virginia and all of my friends being in different states. I'm
Hmm.
not very good at texting either. I'm not very good at talking on the phone. So it's hard to keep up with people.
Yeah. And like that kind of, I guess that makes sense with your whole restrained introvert thing too, because like, um, kind of like I feel like I'm kind of restrained too, but also,
Mhm.
I just took the Myers-Briggs test, the free one,
Oh, I
and
want to
yeah, and apparently like my type is very cynical.
I can see that.
Yeah. And so I'm very like skeptical of people, and like
That's
I
on
always,
point.
yeah, I question people's like loyalty, and then I don't want to share too much. That's why
Hmm.
I like the group of friends I have, because we've already established that like there's already
Yeah,
years of friendship there. They already know about me, my personal life. And then you put a new person in, I'm like, man, I got to talk about my childhood,
I
talk about
know.
why I'm like this, why I'm somewhat of a psychopath. Like,
And
like
then
it's
you're
too
scared you're
much.
going to scare them away.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm a particular person. And I think that's what I called you at one point, that you're very
Oh,
particular.
I'm 100% particular. People who don't even know me that well know that I'm particular.
Yeah. And then to have to like, um, I don't know, like gain that same type of friendship with another person, like
Uh-huh.
that's a lot of work. And that's like years of trying to figure out like, is this person
Yeah,
trustworthy? And can you like share with them without like the fear of them, I don't know, judging you or
yeah,
sharing with other people stuff about you, you know?
yeah, and it's exhausting.
Yeah. Cause like
That's
in
I think,
our,
uh-huh.
oh, in our group, like say you tell me a secret, like the only people I can probably tell is Bailey and Casey, who you probably already told
Yeah,
anyways, you know? Like,
very
so
true. Pretty much anything I tell any one of you, like you can all know.
yeah, exactly. So
And that's
adding
how I
someone to
like
that group would just like ruin the balance of things, I
it.
guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I get what you're saying. I get
Mm.
you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, did we ever even? So, this episode's supposed to be about you moving across the country. So,
Here
how? So,
and there,
okay. Yeah.
here and there.
So, since you say that you're an anxious introvert and all that, so how did it feel when you finally like left California and you're like on your merry old way to Virginia?
I was actually really excited for it. I don't think I really thought too much about like the social aspect of it,
Mm-hmm.
but I was excited to be in a new place because I grew up in California. I haven't traveled that much, and I just like really was looking forward to just kind of being more on my own. I mean, I was lucky to have Fabian with me, and so that helped out a lot, but it was nice to just kind of get away from the family because I was getting like really tired of not
Everybody.
tired. I don't know.
Well, it's just like a
I,
constant.
yeah, yeah. And like you said, like our family doesn't really understand us that well.
Yeah.
And so it was nice to just kind of be away from that for a little bit, which it makes me appreciate it more now being away, I'm always really glad that I did it. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
I think it is probably the best decision I've ever made in my life was moving across country as hard as it is. But where was I going with this? I lost my
What?
train of
How
thought.
did you feel about
Oh
moving?
yeah. Yeah, I
Like
was
when you
super
left?
excited, but I definitely was really, really terrified of getting a new job.
Oh yeah. How's that?
That that was really scary because for one thing, interviews are just scary in general. And then as an introvert, it's just and being like shy, it is a lot harder. So that that really freaked me out. And I loved my job because so the job that I had before I left for Virginia was much like yours. It was an ambulance billing company, so I had my own cubicle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was in an office. It was like a regular 9 to 5 job, basically. And I absolutely loved having my cubicle. It was just me in this little box, and it was me and my computer, and I got to listen to music while doing work, and it's literally just all computer work, and that's the dream because I didn't have to really interact with anybody. And my boss was Austin, which is another really, really good friend. So it life was like nice when it came to my job. And so I knew when I moved here and I'd be going to school, I wouldn't be able to find another job like that. So that really freaked me out. I was very anxious about that, having to learn a new job, meet new people, just be around a bunch of new people constantly. So that was scary. Um, and it did take me a couple months. It took like 2 months for me to find a job when I first got here, which in the beginning it was so nice because I hadn't had that much time off work since I started working. So it was just nice to have just me and Fabian just kind of enjoy ourselves. And it was around the holidays too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you left in
So
December.
yeah, it was right before, I think I left a week before Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
a week, maybe 2 weeks.
Ooh, that was so hard for our family too. Because
It was
like Christmas, well, I remember like your mom being upset about it because she's
Yeah.
like, "You're not gonna wait till Christmas,"
Mhm.
and
I left on Aiden's birthday.
yeah, because
So
the holidays are huge for our family.
yeah. Oh yeah. But I did it on purpose because it was going to be like the first Christmas that Fabian and I got to spend together.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a bunch of time off work. So I did that on purpose. And so we
Mm-hmm.
had like the first 2 weeks that I was there, it was just me and him. And I loved that. Just us not having to worry about like any other person, like didn't have to go to any parties or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a nice, like it was so calm. And the first 2 months they were kind of nice, but towards the end, I remember thinking like I really need a job. Like I love being on my own. I love being home. I love being in my own little bubble, but after 2 months it was getting a little hard. Especially
Mm-hmm.
not having like friends to visit every once in a while.
Yeah.
Cuz like quarantine, I guess it was kind of my version of quarantine almost because I couldn't really go anywhere because I didn't know where anything was. I didn't know anyone. Fabian had to go back to work eventually. So it was just kind of me there.
Yeah. Wanted to take a quick break to talk about Instacart. With Instacart, you no longer have to do the shopping and you can get your groceries delivered right to your doorstep. They connect you to a personal shopper who you can easily chat with online or on the mobile app. It's super easy to use and you can save on travel time and going through the store. Listeners will receive free delivery on your first order over $35. Follow the link in the description to let them know I sent you and to help support the show. Use Instacart and you'll never need to step into a grocery store again. So, how was like your first year there then? Like compared to now, I guess.
I think the first year, it was pretty good. I think the excitement of being in a new place kind of helped me kind of get out there more. And Fabian being an extrovert, we were constantly doing things and he was already here for 2 years. So he knew a lot of people, had a lot of friends already. So I kind of just piggybacked on that, I guess. Like we would go out with his friends all the time. So I'm constantly meeting new people. And it actually didn't really bother me that much in the beginning. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't until I distinctly remember that there's like an exact moment where I became homesick and where everything kind of shifted and I kind of fell back into my like being anxious around new people and just a lot of people in general. And I think that didn't come until a year and a half or 2 years into living here. And at first, Fabian hadn't gone on deployment yet. So he was home all the time. And it was like the moment I remember where I got homesick was I went to a Lights concert.
Oh.
Yeah. And
did that bring you back to our first Lights concert?
Exactly. Because we've been to several Lights concerts. Me, you, Casey, Brandon.
Oh, that made me sad a little bit when you said that.
Even Dotan. I think that's the first time I cried about being homesick too, is because I went to this concert and at this time, I hadn't met Erica yet. So I didn't have like a close friend or anything. So it's just me and Fabian. And so he came with me to the concert. And Fabian's not really a fan of Lights, so he doesn't understand.
Oh.
He didn't understand how I felt about her, how excited I was. Like, it was nice having him there, but he just didn't understand like you guys would.
Yeah.
And
especially when you started going to like those Isley and like you saw Sucre and
I started going by myself.
Yeah.
So that's so sad, but I did go to a concert by myself. But mostly because he was deployed. He would have gone, but it's just not the same.
It's not, it's not the same if they don't like the band.
Yeah. Like Fabian and I have been to so many concerts that we both love, and it's so much fun. And that's what makes it so much fun, is because you're sharing it with someone who loves it just as much as you do. But with certain artists and bands, he doesn't feel the same way as I do. But I know there's a lot of friends that I have here that do. So that's when I got really sad, because I remember we were driving back home and I just started like crying because I started to miss like everyone, and I would think about like how much fun it was to have these big groups of us going to the Lights concert. And it was just it was a different feeling. It's when it really hit hard. But
because Bailey and I went to a She and Him concert, and Bailey loves She and Him, but Bailey, I don't think she loves She and Him as much as we love She and Him.
Yeah. Oh my God. I still haven't been to one.
Oh my God. She's so cute. And the whole thing was like, you would have loved it. I was so mesmerized by her. Like there was one point where someone, I think, bumped into Bailey or something, but I totally like didn't even notice her. Like I was just so mesmerized by what was happening, and I just remember turning around and being like, "Oh, are you okay?"
Oh my God.
But it was such a good. It was Oh, it was beautiful because it's the Christmas one too, like the Christmas special
Oh
one. And yeah, and I had like my little Christmas outfit on, like I had my little red sweater and
no! Oh
my
yeah, I
like,
remember you telling me about this.
yeah, and
I
I was
was
like, oh,
so sad because I knew I was going to California for Christmas,
hmm,
but the concert was like early December or
yeah,
something.
it was like the first week of December because I asked you like, hey, when are you
Yeah.
gonna be here? And it would
Yeah.
have been too late. And I was like, oh,
Uh,
you would have loved it. It was a good concert. I mean, I think they do it. Well, it's COVID time. I was gonna say, I
yeah.
think they do it every year.
Yeah.
But
Not this year.
yeah, it was good. That made me sad. Like when you said you went to the Lights concert, I got
Mhm.
like, I don't know, chills or whatever. Cause I was like,
Yeah.
oh, she didn't get to go with all of us.
I know. And then like the Sucre concert, I would have loved to share that with you.
Oh, yeah.
And I
I,
went,
ugh.
yeah, I went to two. So the first Sucre concert, I actually did bring a friend. She was a coworker. I haven't
Mm-hmm.
talked to her in like since we worked together because then that's how it goes with coworkers usually.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a lot of fun going with her, and she actually ended up really falling in love with Sucre, which was awesome.
Oh, she didn't know who they were before?
Mm-mm. She had no idea, had never really listened to her before, and she loved the concert, and now she like loves Sucre.
Oh,
But
cool.
yeah, but then the second concert I went to, she couldn't go, and I didn't know anyone else that could go. I think Erica couldn't go either for some reason. And so I was like, I'm not missing any more concerts. I hated myself for missing other concerts simply because I didn't have anyone to go with. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do it. It's like I love doing things by myself anyway, so why not try going to a concert? And I actually really loved it. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
that bad. Like I had a really good time just by myself listening to her. And yeah, it was great.
And that was on the introvert to-do list.
Oh, is
Do you
it?
remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that list. I don't remember what's on it though.
I think it was like go to a concert by yourself or
Mhm.
like, you
I
know.
think I remember thinking that I had completed almost everything on that list.
Yeah, I think that was there was like one last thing that you did. Was it recently that you finally checked off your list, but I can't remember what it was. I think it was going to a concert by yourself.
It might be that because that
'Cause
was fairly recently. It was last year, I think.
yeah, so I think that was the last thing because everything else was like, eat at a restaurant by yourself, go watch a movie by yourself,
Yeah, which
like all this other
I've done
stuff.
that so many times.
Yeah, I enjoy eating at a restaurant by myself, actually.
Yeah.
That's a normal thing for me to do. I don't think people know that about me. I just realized. But yes, I do.
I didn't know that. My favorite thing is going to the movie theaters alone.
I don't think I've done that because I don't really go to the theaters
Yeah.
unless someone asks me to go with them, which is like the only reason why I go watch a movie at the theaters anyways.
That's
So,
true.
so I
Yeah.
haven't done that. Plus I get annoyed at people
Yeah.
like,
Which is why it's so nice going by yourself.
well, I mean like at a what was it? Like we watched a scary movie
Uh-huh.
and there's like that guy, there's always that guy who
Mhm.
make jokes to like lighten the mood or whatever when it gets too scary. And I'm just like, dude, it's a scary movie. Like
Why are you
you
here?
yeah, like people come here to get scared. Like don't make it a comedy. So
True.
that's why I don't. Like man, what movie? I think I was watching Toy Story 4, whatever the last one is.
Yeah.
And I was so mad because I ended up sitting next to a kid
Oh
and
no.
the kid kept tapping my leg because you know how like theaters now have the lounge chairs. And so we
Yeah.
both, yeah, so we both like reclined back and he
Mhm.
kept like tapping my foot with his foot. And he was just a little kid. And I was like boiling up inside. And I was like,
Oh
God,
no.
this kid, like I've been waiting forever to watch this movie because I love like Toy Story. And I'm like, you're not even old enough to know what the first Toy Story was. I was just so livid. And I was like, okay, this better come out later and I'm gonna just rewatch it at home. Which I did actually when Disney Plus came out.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, see, I feel like that's how we differ because I mean, obviously we're both introverts, but I feel like sometimes we can be very different in the way that we are introverts.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I can handle like that kind of stuff a lot better. No offense, I
Yeah.
don't know if that sounds offensive, but
No, I get that. I feel like sometimes I have a very short fuse,
yeah,
and I think some people like I think especially you, like you're more patient with kids, which I
surprisingly.
mean, yeah, I mean there's a reason why I'm not going to have kids, you know.
I think it's because I think I grew up with around babies constantly.
Well, you also like spent most of your like
Childhood taking care of Ava.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
you kind of already have that motherly I don't know, trait about you, I guess.
I think that's why people think that I'm an extrovert is because I am really good at handling like things like that. I can handle like loud noise, I can handle crowds, I can handle chaos pretty well,
Yeah.
I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm really good at hiding like how I actually feel, I guess. And I think that's why people think I'm an extrovert a lot
Mm-hmm.
because I am good. Like for instance, Fabian, he's extroverted, but he also is not very good in crowds and like a lot of noise.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's interesting.
I know, isn't it? It's weird.
Yeah, that's really weird.
But me, on the other, like he hates grocery shopping, absolutely hates it, can't stand it. But I actually kind of love it.
Oh, I
And
love grocery shopping.
and I don't mind it. Like he just hates how people are with the carts and like all
Mm.
that kind of stuff, which is understandable. That people get really annoying. Like I get annoyed by things like that. It's just I can just kind of ignore it almost,
Mm-hmm.
or just I don't react to things very easily, I guess.
Yeah, I'm kind of like that too. Like I don't get road rage really. Like
Hmm.
sometimes when Bailey's with me and then some idiot like does something stupid, she's like, "Wow, I'm so amazed by your composure."
Because
But
Bailey's the complete opposite.
yeah, exactly. But like in my head, I'm like going off at that person, you know.
Yeah,
But I just don't express it externally, I
yeah.
guess.
Like if people actually knew my thoughts, they might actually be a little scared of me.
Oh my God, I said the same thing the other day. I was like, people don't want to be in there. Like, just,
No.
it's too dark.
Yeah, because people tell me all the time, they're like, oh my God, you're so nice, you're so sweet, you're so blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, if you actually knew like what goes on in my head, you probably wouldn't be saying that.
Oh, I know. Like, I don't cuss, like, I don't curse, you know?
Mhm.
But in my head, I'm just like dropping F bombs all over the place.
That'd
But,
be interesting to hear.
wouldn't
That's
it?
true. You don't really curse or
No.
anything.
I mean, it comes out every once in a while,
Yeah.
but not to the same extent as like you, Casey and Bailey. Like not even close.
Yeah.
Because there have been times, well, I guess like when I get really angry, sometimes I'll come out, but
Yeah.
that's very rare. I don't get really angry. I get
Yeah.
irritated, but I don't get angry.
Yeah. I'm the
Yeah.
same way. Like it takes a lot for someone to make me angry.
Hmm. Like Brandon absolutely does not curse like at all. Like
Uh-huh.
he like zero. But when he's
That's true.
angry, that's when it comes out. Yeah, that's when you know he's angry.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You very, very rarely see him angry.
It takes a lot.
Yeah, I think me and him are both like that, and which is very different from the rest of our family.
Yeah, it really is. Oh man, that's what makes it tiring. Okay, so anyways, so what is like because you say you're an anxious introvert and then it was like kind of hard getting a job and blah blah blah. So
Mhm.
what's like the pros and cons if you had to like weigh them out? Like what's the pros and cons of like moving across the country? Like if you took Fabian out of it, you know, obviously like he's a pro and all that, but like if you
Yeah.
took Fabian out and it's just like you just moving across the country, like what's the pros and cons of that?
Pros, there are a lot of pros. Like my school life got better. Um, as much as I love family and being around family, it was nice to be able to just focus on
Mm-hmm.
school. Because I went from being on like academic probation to getting straight A's every single semester. I still have a 4.0, and it's been like 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that helped a lot, is just having that time to kind of focus on myself and not worry too much about family, which that sounds really bad too, but
No,
I think,
that totally makes sense though. Like, I'm
yeah, I
pretty
think,
sure I would have
mhm.
better grades.
Yeah, like everyone in that age, I feel like should like leave the house and experience life and just
Mm-hmm.
experience things on your own and take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a pro, is just, that's a lot of pros right there. Just like learning to take care of myself
Mm-hmm.
away from family, not being too reliant on anyone. I know Fabian helped me a lot, but even so, like I'm definitely less reliant being out here on anyone than I was in California.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, school was a lot easier. Just new experiences, being in a new place, as scary as it is, it was nice. Like I've never seen the East Coast before, so it's nice to have this firsthand experience, and there's a lot you can do over here too. So I've gotten to see a lot more than I ever thought I would. Um, what else? I feel like those are the only things that don't involve like Fabian.
So, what are your cons then?
Cons, obviously, like trying to make new friends out here, and like just the social aspect is the hardest part for sure. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I got pretty lucky, I feel like, with my job. I actually really like my job. I love the people I work with and the boss that I have. So I got pretty lucky with that. And so it's not like too hard anymore. I feel like I
Mm-hmm.
didn't struggle as much as I thought I would, but that definitely was the hardest part, is like just meeting all these people. And a lot of it has to do with the military too. Not really like Fabian specifically. It's just the military life in general is, I think, what the biggest con here is, just like people so in and out of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's hard, even if I tried to make friends or tried to get closer to people, it's hard anyway, because people are so in and out.
Mm-hmm.
They're here
Like,
for a few months and then they're gone for a few months. And
yeah.
yeah, and like, like I said earlier, it's hard for me to keep in touch with people when I don't have that face-to-face contact, like, because I don't really like texting all the time. I don't really like calling all the time.
Yeah.
Like I'll see things on Instagram, and once in a while maybe I'll comment on something, but it's still pretty rare. I don't really
Mm-hmm.
like use Facebook and Instagram that much and stuff like that, like social media in general.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's the biggest way I've been able to keep in contact with people, because I've noticed if I don't have them on one of those, like Instagram or Facebook, then I really have no idea what's going on in people's lives.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, which is kind of bad. And I'm trying to work on keeping into contact with people more often.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was the hardest thing to learn out here, is just how to keep in contact with people back home while trying to make friends out here.
Yeah.
I think that's the hardest thing, especially as an introvert.
Yeah. And it's hard too because like typically introverts value like one-on-one conversations with people and like long time friendships and stuff like that
Hmm.
and like quality time. And it's hard to do that if people are just there's no guarantee that that person's going to stay there. Even for
Yeah.
you, like it's temporary for you because you guys are only staying there because Fabian
Hmm.
has to be there. But if he
Yeah.
didn't have to, like you wouldn't
Yeah,
be in Virginia.
for the longest time, I like really didn't want to make friends with people because I felt like it was so temporary. Because I felt
Hmm.
like 3 years was going to go by like that. I was like, there's no point in investing all this time in people and then I'm just going to move away. And I thought I was moving back to California. So I was like, there's no point in doing any of that. But then it happened with Erica, which was awesome. But I don't see that happening again, really. And part of me doesn't really want it to either.
Yeah. Plus, that's like a special case because like Fabian invited them over.
Yeah. And there have been plenty of times where Fabian like kind of tries tries to set me up to have friends. And I appreciate that he tries so much, but it's like, it's hard for me to do it that way. He's a little different. Like he can make friends like no problem. He never has an issue with that.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't like to be pushed in that direction with a specific person
yeah, it has to be like natural.
Yeah, it just has to happen. And that's and that's how we ended up in our relationship too. Like I wasn't looking for anything. I don't think he was really either. And we just happened to be in the right place at the right time, and it just happened.
It just worked out. There was just that spark.
Yeah.
Like that needs to be for friends.
Yes, exactly. It's
like that.
Pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. Because like, I mean, that's kind of how all my friends like ended up. We weren't looking for friends necessarily. We just, it was just like that first conversation, right? Like it just really worked out to the point where like you want more of it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't want more of it, like, I don't know, then I'm done.
It's not, it's not going to go anywhere after that.
Yeah. Like, what's the point of trying to keep it together if it wasn't even, I don't know. It wasn't like a great first start. I don't know.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
First impression. I guess. First impressions usually suck anyway.
Yeah. That's why it's so great when the first impression like ends up being really awesome. Like when I first met Tatum for the first time, what was it? We weren't like friends or anything. We went to a birthday party together. We just so happened to be friends with the person who had the birthday party. Yeah. And then we just started talking because I think we just sat next to each other. And then we just started talking and we ended up talking the entire party.
Yeah, I feel like that's how most of my friendships have started. Pretty much.
So
it just happens.
Yeah. So do you have advice for people who want to move across the country? Like what's something you wish you knew before you went over there?
Oh man. I'm trying to think. I've never really thought about that. Because honestly, overall it was really good. Like it was the one I guess my advice would be to not overthink it. Because that's the one time I didn't overthink things was when I moved out here. And I feel like everything just kind of fell into place almost on its own. Like even the job situation, like I got my job because I went to the hair salon to get my hair cut, and I was talking to the stylist, and I was talking to her about how I had worked at a salon before and how I just moved here, blah, blah, blah. And then the next day I get a call from the owner and she's like, hey, do you want to interview for a job here? And I was like, yeah. So,
I don't think you ever told me that.
Yeah. That's how I got the job at the salon. And then I also worked at the coffee shop for a year and a half at the same time. And I got that job because, well, Fabian kind of helped me with that. He, like one of his friends' wife knew the general manager of the coffee shop and they needed someone. So that was mostly Fabian's doing. But yeah, I felt like everything just kind of fell into place and just things happened the way they were going to happen. And I just didn't really control things too much like I normally do. Because I'm very much that type of person.
Yeah.
I control and plan every single minute of my life. But when I moved here, I really had no plans. Like besides, I knew I was gonna start school, but that wasn't gonna be for a few months. And I just took the first few months off to kind of figure things out and take things one step at a time.
Yeah, because I feel like people like us who are planners or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
if we were to, that's why sometimes like being too logical and too rational can
Mm-hmm.
be kind of hindersome, because I feel
Oh yeah.
like if we were going to weigh like the pros and cons beforehand, if we were gonna, really think it out. Because rationally, you know, California is safer because your family's here.
Mm-hmm.
You had a really good job. You were attending school and like,
Mm-hmm.
you were good like in a financial spot and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
And you like kind of left all that behind to come
literally
over.
threw all that out the window.
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes it's good not to it's good to feed into that like
Yeah.
spontaneous side of yourself.
Yeah, because if I had really thought about it, if I had let myself really think about it, I would have been terrified. I would have been so anxious and so scared. But I'm really glad that I didn't, because it turned out, I mean, things are going to turn out no matter what. Things will just work out.
Yeah.
I've learned that since then, that things just kind of work itself out eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's my biggest piece of advice, is to just do it. Like, don't think about it and don't be scared. That's pretty much it.
Okay. That's pretty good advice, I think.
Oh, thanks. I'm not
Yeah.
usually very good at advice, I feel like.
Yeah, me neither. I like said that in one episode, like, don't listen to me.
I remember that.
Because I really like this podcast is for fun. Like, I'm not a professional at anything I say. I
Uh-huh.
just like to talk.
Yeah.
And, but, do your own research.
True. You should always do your own research, no matter what.
Exactly. Always, always. All right. Well, we've reached, oh my God, we've reached over an hour, I
Oh,
think.
Jesus. Have
Yeah.
fun editing that.
Thanks. Well, thanks for like getting onto the podcast. And I can't wait to do one with you, Bailey and Casey, because oh my God, you need
Uh,
to listen to that episode. It's
I'm so excited. You have no idea.
so good. It's just hard to get Casey like off.
She's,
So,
yeah.
and she works like, because she works at night and we work during the day. And then,
Complete opposite
yeah,
schedule.
and then she's never off when we need her to be off. But
Yeah.
we'll make it work someday, and that'll be a fun one.
Too fun. That's going to be crazy.
Yeah. But thank you. Thanks for getting on here.
Thanks for having me on here.
All right, guys, that is the end of the episode. Hope you enjoyed that. I'm sure to have Louie back on for future episodes. If you want to stay in the know on future episodes, please follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and I also upload these episodes onto YouTube. All the information will be in this description, but you can also check out my website at thetalkativeintrovertpodcast.com. Thanks so much, you guys, for listening, and I will talk to you guys in the next episode.